I currently find myself in the Cambodian town of Siem Reap. I have been travelling around the world for 8 months, often playing and looking at various handheld games as I have travelled around. Despite making so many handheld videos, I have just noticed something odd. Somehow I have now managed to go since the summer without making any content in regards to the original Game Boy. That's absolutely crazy considering I release videos on handheld related stuff most weeks. I am even surprised myself. Anyway, let's get straight into the subject at hand. Let's take a quick look at this game trailer. The title of this video related to whether there was a Super Smash Bros. Game on the Game Boy. Well, obviously not, since the first Smash handheld game has only come out in the last few years and made its debut on the 3DS. So obviously of course there isn't a Smash Bros. Game for the Game Boy. However, there was a lovely homebrew game released on the PC in 2011 which is essentially a demake to show you what Smash Bros. Would have looked and played like if it did make it to the original Game Boy. The game was created by Dan Furniss, who was a young ambitious individual who made it as a student whilst he was still in college. Dan wanted to make something that was simple graphically in scope and had always been a fan of the Game Boy aesthetics. Also for years Dan had loved the Super Smash Bros. Series and its simple yet deep gameplay. As an artist he wanted to try to pay homage to one of his favourite games. So with these ideas he decided to make a mock-up for a Super Smash Bros. Game with Game Boy style graphics. He tested this mock-up version on his friends and they enjoyed it so much they suggested he turned it into a full game. In order to make the game, entitled Super Smash Land, Dan collaborated with 2 musicians, who we will get to later, but handled the rest of the project on his own. In total, it took him 6 months to make the game, and a few additional months on top of that to create a trailer and actually release the game. In 2011, the game was released as a free-to-play PC game online. So let's talk a little bit about this game. This Super Smash Bros. Demake initially featured 4 playable characters from the original games. It included Mario, Kirby, Link and Pikachu. An additional 2 more characters are also included in the game as unlockable characters, and these 2 are Megaman and Vaporeon of all things. Since the game is a demake to be played in the style of the Game Boy, the game is completely controlled with directional keys and 2 buttons, as if it was being played using Game Boy hardware. The direction keys are obviously used to move, one of the 2 buttons is used to jump, and the other to attack. Players can perform multiple different attacks by hitting the attack, but paired with different directional keys. For such a limited set of buttons, the controls are amazingly good for a beat 'em up, and the game plays quite a lot like a real Smash Bros. Game. The game features an impressive 11 different stages to battle on, most of which are unlockable after achieving various feats throughout the game. Amongst these stages is Hyrule Castle, Wispy Woods, Princess Peach's Castle and Saffron City, all from the original Smash Bros. Game on the Nintendo 64. Wispy Woods level even comes complete with the wind, and Saffron City features occasional appearances from Chansey, Venusaur and Electrode. Additional new stages in which are exclusive to this game include Lavender Town, which features appearances from Ghastly and Haunter carrying platforms, Clock Town from Majora's Mask, featuring that pesky bloody moon, a new Mario Underground stage, which includes moving platforms, a Kirby's Air Ride stage, and a final Battlefield stage. The game also includes a Tower of Heaven stage. The Tower of Heaven is a monochromatic indie title which was a further influence in the creation of this game. For that reason, the developer decided to add a Tower of Heaven stage to the game. Something else interesting of note is that obviously this game came out several years before Super Smash Bros. 4, yet managed to beat the game to the punch with the inclusion of Megaman. Megaman has a Dr. Wily themed stage which looks eerily like the official Dr. Wily stage included in Smash 4 a few years later. Megaman is quite interesting in this game as he has quite a different moveset to that of which he was given in his official appearance a few years down the line. Obviously the other new character included in this game is Vaporeon. A staple part of Vaporeon's game plan is its neutral attack water gun, which leaves a puddle of water on solid ground. Using this up ground or up air will cause Vaporeon to walk to said puddle, allowing it to strike unsuspecting opponents or recover in situations where it would otherwise be impossible. The only limitation is that Vaporeon is allotted one water puddle at a time. Using water gun again overrides the previous one. The game offers 3 play modes, the first of these being arcade mode. This plays much like the original game mode in the N64 game, where you go from stage to stage. The first stage of this mode is a one-on-one battle, followed by another one-on-one fight on the second stage. In the third stage you face off against a team of opponents, which consist of either 20 Kirbys or 20 Pikachus. The fourth stage is another one-on-one battle, and when you make it to the fifth and final stage, you face off against Megaman. Megaman has 2 lives and appears to be a lot tougher and a bit more of a challenge than any of the other opponents in the game. The game also features an endless mode, which takes place on the final battlefield. Like the title of this mode suggests, you face off against an endless slew of opponents until you are eventually KO'd. In this stage you simultaneously face off against the silhouettes of 3 different characters at a time. The third mode of play is the traditional versus mode of Smash Bros, where you choose to face off between 1 and 3 opponents at a time. Let's also touch on the game's music. One of the gentlemen responsible for the game's sound and music was Brendan Becker, who is known to the music world as Inverse Phase. Dan Fulnis originally planned to find suitable existing Game Boy tracks and sound effects and adapt them for use in Super Smash Land, but he quickly realised Super Smash Land needed a soundtrack and feel all of its own, so he commissioned Brendan to write new music arrangements and sound effects completely from scratch to give the game a more cohesive feel. He also recruited the help of someone named Flashy Goodness, who was made responsible for the music in most of the hidden stages and victory screens. He was originally brought onto the project to remix a single track from the Tower of Heaven, a game in that he composed music for himself. But since he enjoyed Smashland so much, he ended up doing a lot of additional songs for the project so that every stage would have a unique theme. A lot of the game's music is rearrangements of classic Nintendo tracks, each of which fits the theme stages in which they are paired with. The 8-bit sounding soundtrack fits in with the monochromatic graphics perfectly, bringing the player back to many nostalgic memories of Nintendo days gone by. Overall, this game is great fun, and upon playing it, you can feel the love and enthusiasm that went into its creation. The game really does look and feel how you would imagine a Smash game would play on the Game Boy platform. This game is a perfect example of a great art style and concept mixed up perfectly with great gameplay to complement it. To date, Super Smash Land has been downloaded over 500,000 times, and since Super Smash Land, Dan Fulnis was appointed as the lead designer on Microsoft Studios side of Killer Instinct Season 1. In April 2014, Dan left Microsoft Studios in order to start a new independent game entitled Rivals of Aoife. Rivals of Aoife is the spiritual sequel to Super Smash Land and features similar game mechanics. This game officially launched on Steam only a few days ago, and this time around the developer will be able to make some money off of his creation, since Rivals of Aoife doesn't feature any Nintendo characters. I will probably buy and play Rivals of Aoife in the next few days, as I have only discovered its existence in the process of writing this script. Pretty handy actually, as it's made this video way more bloody topical. It is lovely to see Super Smash Land Legacy live on, especially in the form of a fully legal licensed game. If you have enjoyed this video and you're new to my channel, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to this channel. What are some of your favourite fan projects online? There has been some bloody good efforts over the years. Maybe you can educate me on some of the best ones I have missed. I look forward to hearing from you all in the comment section. Thank you for watching today's video. It's always fun to cover various quirky parts of gaming history. Shoutouts to Jarrett Tolzien, Mad Ape Productions, Andreas Larson, Peter Dawn, Mike Frost, Edward O'Reilly, Andrew Bazanski and all of my other patrons. Thank you for all of your support. Yeah! If you want to be added to this prestigious list of amazing people, then check out my Patreon page. Ta-ta and farewell.